Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you'll appreciate the embellishment I just provided for you. This has been a labor of love. What I've got here is pure homemade fig syrup. I had mentioned Wednesday that I was going to have something tasty for you for today's episode. This fig syrup may just be one of the most delightful things I've ever made. On yesterday, I took a pail of figs and put them in a pot, boiled them down. All you have to do is chop them in half, drop them in a pot, cover the pot, and let them cook on low. Let them cook for 2 or 3 hours, really get nice and soft and mushy, really fall apart. And then you put them through a strainer and you come out with the pure fig juice. Now, through this whole process, it is the most delightful aroma coming off those figs cooking in a pot that you'll smell anywhere on earth. It is one of the most pleasant smells you can ever experience while cooking. So I highly recommend you do this. After the figs had cooked for a little while, I took them out, put them in a strainer to strain all the juice out of the pulp. Wound up with, as you can see, a little more than half a pint of fig juice. Pour that into another clean pot. I added to this particular batch, I added a little over 5 ounces of sugar to it to make the syrup. This is something you'd have to eyeball yourself. Whatever amount of fluid you wind up with, I went with a little more than half that amount for sugar. Some recipes say you go 1-to-1. I don't like a lot of sugar in my jams and syrups. I like things tasting more natural and the natural sugar within the fruit itself coming out. So I just added a little over 5 ounces of sugar to this. Put it back in the pot. Let it come to a boil again. Thicken up. And you'll know when the time is right. Again, this isn't an exact recipe. You have to use your eyes and tell for yourself. But when the bubbles coming out of the syrup are a little bit thicker, a little bit slower to erupt and spread around, that's when you know the syrup is just about done. You want to stir it fairly often so that your syrup doesn't stick and burn to the bottom of your pot. Once it gets to that nice thickness that you want, pull it out. Put it in a jar that you had previously warmed so that the jar doesn't crack when you immediately put hot syrup into it. Let the jar come to room temperature naturally in your kitchen before you put it in the fridge. Let it cool down slowly. Again, you want to keep your jar from breaking. And then once it's done, you wind up with this beautiful syrup. Now, this isn't like store-bought syrup. If you have had real maple syrup before, you know that real maple syrup is not super thick. It's actually a little fluid. It moves around. It's not watery, but it's not like corn syrup or molasses. It's somewhere in between, and that's what this is. This is somewhere in between. But this fig syrup, I can think about the taste of it right now, and I wish I could convey this to you through this video. It is absolutely wonderful. I've never had anything like it. Made this for the missus yesterday, so I hope she enjoys it. She's a big fan of pancakes, big fan of waffles. This is perfect for that. Honestly, you could put this on anything pastry-wise, pour it over a hot biscuit. You could put this on pork roast and use it as a glaze, because fruit flavors always pair well with pork when you're preparing that. I'm sure you could use this modified if you took some of it out and added some other savory seasonings and whatnot, and you could turn this into a fig barbecue sauce. There's a lot of potential. But this stuff is one of the best things I've ever made. It was so good that I knew I had to make a video about it and share it with you. So, as I've said all this week and last week, we've been pulling a ton of figs off of our trees here. We've had a very successful crop this year. We always have a good crop, but this year has been a banger. We've been pulling them off left and right. There's only so many figs you can eat raw, so you have to prepare them, and because they're so soft, they're apt to perish pretty quickly. You have to process them. You have to do something with them quick. So we've been making sauces. We've been making dried figs. We've been making puree and putting in the freezer because it's always excellent to use to mix in with applesauce or just to eat plain, put over something. But this was the first time I've made fig syrup, and it is wonderful. So I hope you give it a shot. Get yourself some figs. If you're local to me, give me a message. Let me know you want some figs. I will sell you some figs at a very low cost, simply because I have so many of them and I don't want them to go to waste. So get you some figs. Make yourself some syrup, and you will enjoy it. I appreciate y'all being with me this week. It's been an interesting week between processing all the figs and the power outage we had. It's been an interesting week, but a good one. A lot better than last week. And that's all we can hope for. Anyway, thank y'all for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next week. I appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you again real soon.